over the past couple of weeks, I've had not just once, but a couple of times. Why on earth is a British politics channel and something that's definitely invested in British politics? That's my wheelhouse. Why are we covering, the U.S. election? Well, as someone once said last week, Andrew Adonis, indeed, basically said that the US election is probably the most important thing to happen in UK politics this year. For a number of things, it will probably help decide on what direction Boris Johnson goes, whether he decides to just go get a skinny deal with the EU, or whether just completely abandon the EU and just go for a no deal in attempts to try and gain the much vaunted US trade deal. However, with Biden very clearly now winning, I guarantee you that a lot of U-turns have been performed in secret, especially by Boris Johnson, and most notably probably over the EU, which why probably in the next, I'd say maybe next week or so, we could probably hear rumours about a potential trade deal. We are already hearing rumours that we are already climbing down on fishing. Not surprising, because why would you risk the UK's entire economy for industry that is worth 0.01% of our GDP? But that's just the madness that we've been dealing with. So, today we go over the Yorkshire Bylines article on just this. So, the US election and Brexit. Not as separate as you might think. It should not have come to this. The European Union had hoped a future trade deal with the UK would have been signed and sorted by mid-October, when EU leaders were meeting at a European Council in Brussels. But that deadline, like so many others in the Brexit process, came and went, meaning that EU negotiator Michel Barnier and his UK counterpart David Frost are still talking. And that means the Brexit timetable has now become caught up in the biggest game of global political events this month, the US presidential election. Once it became clear a deal or not would only be confirmed after the 3rd of November, commentators began to wonder what impact the election would have on the Brexit process. The assertion was that a Trump victory would hasten a no-deal exit, while a Biden victory would improve the chances of a deal. But looking at it now, I'm not so sure of this. So, were Trump to win, the course from London would be clear. Belligerence pays, so the chances of a no deal rise even more. Were Biden to win, it was less clear, because the impact that has depends on what Biden were to do, say, or after winning, and how number 10 would actually react to that. One of Biden's advisors, the ex-US ambassador to the EU, Anthony Gardner, was very blunt with his words at an event at the EMST Business School in Berlin. He said, "If Biden is elected, I believe quickly, perhaps even in the first day, there will be a declaration of support for the European Union and declaration of support for European integration." He is reported as saying, "Words like that should be a complete red flag to a bull in Downing Street." And when Biden spoke of the importance of peace in Ireland early in the election campaign, and in so doing alluded to the dangers posed by Brexit, some UK Conservative commentators were not impressed. If pro-Brexit sentiment were at odds with the special relationship, it seems some on the right of British politics would sooner plump for the former. Brexit, after all, has become the more a central pillar of faith in the UK in politics than the actual relationship with America, than the actual relationship we have with America. Biden has never been known as someone who seeks to antagonize, and other advisors will undoubtedly call for calm and seek to reach out a hand of friendship to Johnson and number 10. Likewise, the election result may be unclear, leaving us with a legal case to determine the winner. So, while progressives, multiventuralists, and transatlanticists and indeed anyone who believes in the rule of law and decent politics ought to rightly be rooting for Biden. It is not a foregone conclusion that with him winning the smooth part to a Brexit deal. In fact, as a Biden victory would leave Johnson as the man baby in chief in global politics. The temptation to throw the toys out of the pram might just be all that too strong for him. And that's where we are. I mean, we've said it before, how tight it is. And now, with Biden pretty much confirmed to win, and of course Trump is trying to legally challenge it, but again, he's not any way, shape, or form from what we can see. When he's touting, electoral fraud with no evidence, it's completely ridiculous and insane. But that in itself damages, American democracy. But back to the idea of this, we generally don't know what's going to happen. We might very well see the wheels in number 10 start to, turn back to being in the EU. We said this not too long ago, that maybe one day Boris Johnson might go to visit Ursula von der Leyen with a very unique request, and that would be for Britain to stay in the single market and customs union. Remember, this was a position that Boris Johnson advocated for. This whole idea, and it could be insane. We don't know. We've just got to see what happens. But this whole thing could have been, predicated on the fact of the Brexiteers really believed that Trump would somehow give them this amazing, incredible deal. And it was, as we've said before, it was the pillar of pretty much a lot of the Brexit talks was. Like, during the referendum, everyone was like, oh, but we don't have a deal with the US. We don't have a deal with the US. They're like a really big trading partner of ours, but we don't have a deal with them. When we leave, we can get a deal with them. They're not queuing up to do a deal with us, and Obama was very, very clear that we will not be in the front of the queue for a deal. And here's the thing, with Biden and the Democrats very much championing not only the EU, but more closer Europe integration, that will be very, very bad news for number 10. But this is exactly where Britain was way back in the 1950s, being outside an ever-increasing, ever-integrating European Union and looking on, being unable to help guide or even have a piece of that prosperity. We are part of Europe. Like it or not, we are. And us being on the outside of the European Union, the EU and the single market is just going to damage this country in ways that we just haven't even been able to even predict or even worry about yet. Some of the biggest casualties of Brexit that are to come will be the ones that we didn't predict. And I guarantee you, next year they are going to come thick and fast. And the first casualty are going to be a lot of the just-in-time delivery systems. So, because there's no way that system keeps in place. And then, if you're a business that has that just-in-time delivery system in the UK, why does it make sense to remain in the UK? Because now you've got to buy expensive warehouse space, which is just, it's just a building you keep stuff in. It does nothing to really help your business. And of course, that's when the moves will start, even though they've already started. But anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do head down below to check out my Patreon, and thank you very much to the people that do support me like that. Also, there is a one-off link to buy me a coffee, should you like to buy me one. And of course, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.